They said no one who entered the silent path ever returned the same. Some came back, unable to speak. Some returned with hair turned white overnight. And some were never seen again. Yet every market morning, before the first rooster crowed, fresh yams, palm oil, and firewood appeared in the village square. No footprints. No cart tracks. No witnesses. Only silence. And fear. In the village of Ajanaku, people had learned one thing. Never ask questions you are not ready to answer. But hunger has a way of breaking fear. And that hunger lived in the heart of a young man named Ton. Ton was not a strong man. He was not wealthy. He was not powerful. But he had something stronger than all of that. A reason. Inside their small mud house, his mother, Mama Sod, lay weak and barely breathing. She had not eaten properly in days. Her body had grown thin, her voice fragile. And that morning, there was nothing left in the house. No yam. No grain. Nothing. Only silence and the sound of suffering. Then suddenly, the market bell rang. The mysterious food had appeared again. Ton ran to the village square. And there it was. Fresh food, as always. Yam still covered in soil. Palm oil shining in the morning light. Vegetables arranged like offerings. But no one touched them. Because everyone believed the food belonged to spirits. Ton stood there, staring. Then slowly, he bent down and picked up 2 yams. The entire crowd gasped. Before he could move, a loud voice cut through the air. Stop. Chief Baliga, the most feared man in Ajanaku. Tall, powerful, dressed in rich robes of authority. His eyes burned with anger. You dare steal from the gods, he thundered. Ton fell to his knees. My mother is dying, he said. She needs food. But mercy was not something Chief Baligan believed in. Flog him, he ordered. And right there, in front of the whole village, Ton was beaten. Not for stealing, but for asking the wrong question. That night, as his wounds burned, Mama Sod cleaned his back gently. Her hands trembled. My son, she whispered, something is wrong. Ton looked at her. The food, it is not from spirits. Ton frowned. What do you mean? She tried to speak again. But suddenly, she coughed violently. Blood stained her cloth. And in that moment, Ton knew, if he did nothing, she would die. Before sunrise the next day, Ton made his decision. He picked up a lantern, a wooden staff, and walked toward the silent path. The villagers tried to stop him. Women cried. Men warned him. Even his closest friend, Connor, held his arm. People don't come back from there, Connor said. But Ton only replied, if I stay, my mother dies anyway. And with that, he stepped into the forest. The moment he entered, everything changed. The air grew cold. The sounds of the village disappeared. No birds. No insects. Only silence. Then, a sound. A footstep. Behind him. Ton turned quickly. Nothing. He continued walking. Then again. Footsteps. Closer this time. Someone or something was following him. His heart began to race. He walked faster. The lantern shook in his hand. Then came the whispers. Soft voices. Many voices. Surrounding him. Calling but not in words. Ton raised the lantern and froze. Shapes. Moving between the trees. Tall. Bent. Watching him. And in that moment, he ran. Ton ran blindly through the forest. Branches cut his skin. Roots tried to trip him. The whispers grew louder. Closer. Angrier. Then suddenly, the ground beneath him vanished. He fell, hard, into darkness. His lantern shattered. Pitch black surrounded him. He couldn't see anything. He couldn't even see his own hands. Then, a voice from above. "You are not the first." Ton froze. "Who is there?" he asked. No answer. Only a rope dropping into the pit. With shaking hands, he climbed out. And standing before him was an old blind woman, dressed in white, holding an ivory staff, her eyes pale and empty. "Follow me," she said. Ton hesitated. "How do you know me?" She turned slowly. "I know everyone who comes searching." And without another word, she began to walk. Ton followed her through hidden paths. Paths no villager had ever seen. Until suddenly, the forest opened. And what he saw made his blood run cold. People, dozens of them. Men, women, children, weak, thin, silent, living like prisoners. Some faces looked familiar. Then, Teo, a man stepped forward. Years ago, the village said he was taken by spirits. Now he stood there, alive, but broken. These people, Ton whispered, they were declared missing. The blind woman nodded. They were never taken by spirits. Ton's voice trembled. Then who did this? Before she could answer, drums echoed through the forest, and the prisoners lowered their heads in fear. Then Ton saw them. Guards. Human guards. Armed with whips. And behind them, carts filled with fresh food. The same food from the village market. That was when the truth hit him. The food was not from spirits. It was from suffering. The blind woman spoke. The chief and his elders discovered this land years ago. They forced the poor to work here. Anyone who questioned them disappeared. Ton clenched his fists. The village had been living on a lie. Before he could react, a strong hand grabbed him. Chief Baligan stepped out of the shadows, smiling. "I knew curiosity would bring you here," he said. Ton struggled. "You're evil." The chief laughed. "I am power." Then his face hardened. "Tomorrow, you join them." Ton was chained and thrown into a hut. That night, he heard everything. Cries, weeps, pain, hopelessness. And for the first time in his life, he prayed, "God, if you are real, help us." At first, nothing happened. Then, thunder. The wind began to rise, and the sky opened. Rain poured down like never before. The storm shook the forest. Trees bent. Roofs tore apart. Guards ran in panic. Lightning flashed across the sky and struck the storage barn. Fire exploded. Chaos began. In the confusion, Ton felt the ropes on his hands loosen. He stared at the storm. Tears filled his eyes. "If not for God," he whispered. Then he stood up. He broke free, ran outside. Smoke and rain filled the air. The blind woman stood strong in the storm. "Free them," she shouted. And Ton obeyed. He grabbed keys from a fallen guard, unlocked chains, opened cages, freed the prisoners. People ran. Some cried. Some could not believe it. Freedom had finally come. But then, Chief Baligan appeared, sword in hand. "You ungrateful fools," he shouted. He charged toward Ton, rage in his eyes. Then suddenly, a massive tree branch fell, crashing down, blocking the chief inside the burning building. His screams echoed, then faded. The man who rode through fear was gone. By morning, the survivors walked back to Ajanaku. The village saw them and froze. The missing had returned, alive. Mothers cried. Children ran forward. Families reunited. And shame filled the village. Ton found his mother. Mama Sod held him tightly. I knew truth would return, she whispered. Then they looked for the blind woman. But she was gone. Only her staff remained, standing alone. The farm was destroyed. The lies ended. The village changed. No more fear. No more secrets. Only truth. And every market day, Ton placed free food in the square. For the poor. For the hungry. For those like his mother. Whenever people praised him, he simply said, if not for God, I would have died in that forest. And the silent path was never feared again. It became known as the road of deliverance. Closing line, slow, deep tone. Because sometimes, what we call mystery is just truth waiting for courage.